FieldWatch leads the world in online brand protection and compliance monitoring. It scrubs the entire internet looking for any content that could harm your company in order to bring it to your attention for immediate action and remediation. With our powerful platform, your team can immediately address any violations in order to get ahead of regulators and avoid brand risks. To learn more about FieldWatch, log on to MomoFactor.com and schedule a demo with our team today. Hi everyone, and welcome to MomoTalks, your exclusive podcast for expert insights from key players in the direct selling industry. I'm your host, Anabelle Gilliam.
Hey everyone, you're listening to MomoTalks, and I'm your host, Anabelle. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening. You can also follow Momentum Factor on social media at MomoFactor to keep up with all things direct selling. Today, we have a special guest, Shellie Sullivan, VP of Business Development at Boards. Shellie, welcome.
Hi, Anabelle. Thanks for having me.
And I see you've got a little furry friend back there as well.
This is our little buddy Frisco because, in a busy life, I just thought it was a great idea to be a doggy foster parent. So we're fostering Frisco. He's up for adoption. So
he's so cute. Listeners, Frisco is up for adoption.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's
keep that in
adorable and
mind.
sweet and 40 pounds and 4 months old. He's going to be a nice big boy.
Oh my gosh.
And he likes to snuggle, which is why he's here.
Well, he's perfect. We love him. And he probably won't have as much to say about the direct selling industry as you will today, Shellie.
Let's hope not.
But I'll start with the question that I ask all our guests to get to know what your role looks like. So can you start by walking us through a day in your life and your role at Boards?
Oh, sure. So at Boards, we are a fairly remote team. We're actually headquartered in Tel Aviv, Israel, where our company originated. And so the bulk of our team works out of a WeWork space. So we're sort of a remote office vibe, I guess, all around. But our U.S. team here is all remote. So I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm actually working from home today, thanks to little Frisco here. But I work out of a co-working space. So typically for me, it really helps me, stay on point and focus when I get up, get dressed, and go to the office.
The office, totally.
So I work out of a fantastic co-working space. It gives me the best of everything. So that allows me to be more creative and focused and have some socialization, right? You can get pretty isolated working from home all by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really tuned in right now at Boards into our partnership. So I spend a lot of time talking to our current brand partners and prospective partners, listening to what they're needing, what are they looking for, and basically I stay in a problem solving mode almost all the way around. So I spend time doing that, making connections, lots of Zoom, always on Zoom. We are cameras on, everything else shut and focused in our meetings team. And so we're on when we're on and staying connected with my team all day long. So I'm either in a Zoom or a Slack huddle. If you try to reach me and I don't answer, that's what's happening. So nothing's ever the same, like a lot of jobs in this world. I spend time also with our product team, our marketing team, our founders, just looking at how we can best, develop, because we're a 5-year-old startup. So we're still developing every day, and we learn from our users and our brand partners, where we're going to go next.
Yeah, I'm also meant to ask, can you tell us, give us a brief explainer on what Boards is and your role in the industry?
Sure. So, Boards is an app that is used by, at this point, over 3 million network marketers worldwide. We have facilitated more than 3 billion conversations. And we have actively about 50,000 new network marketers join Boards every month. So Boards is a platform, a tool that that network marketers use for lots of different reasons, but primarily it is, it's the thing that drives action, that allows them to communicate their amazing content or scripts or promotions, whatever it is that's driving their business at the time, to really be in the moment, to be able to share those things in a conversation, no matter what platform. And I'm speaking digital conversations, right? Because that's where we are right now. So Boards is that tool that allows them to either share their content with their teams so everybody can use it, or create their own, organize their own. And there goes Frisco.
Bye, Frisco. Come back. I know. Oh, he's getting crazy. No, I love that. And since you've worked for 20 years in network marketing, is that correct?
Yes, I'm afraid it
Yeah.
is.
I love it. And much of that was in field-facing positions, if
That's right.
I'm correct. So how has this field-facing perspective strengthened your understanding of how to succeed in this industry and how to really create an app that facilitates communication instead of putting more red tape up?
Yeah, great question. So I started my role in the good old days with Avon Products, and I started in the, entry level district sales manager. I was a corporate, employee, but my job was to work directly with Avon representatives in a geographic region, go into their homes, conduct sales meetings, recruit people. And so I was on the ground and seeing, what this business really was. That's where I learned. I came from a prestige cosmetic retail environment,
Yeah.
this. And it really set the foundation for me. First, I learned just how much this channel makes a difference in people's lives. Just the most, um, smallest amount of money, sometimes extra income can change a life. So I built on that foundation. And so for me today, I moved up in my career, running teams of district managers, and then, field training, and you named it, all the things. And it has let me layer in an understanding and a perception of, what it takes to work with people, what it takes to drive people and move people. And then, that's the reason Boards reached out. They were ready to bring people in who had direct industry experience here in the United States, because most of our users are in the United States. So for me, it's everything, right? It's what got me here was all the time that I spent working directly with the field, with leaders, then with corporate teams, and so it built on that foundation, helping me, be able to advocate now for corporate teams, and advocate for the field, almost facilitate that conversation back and forth, because I've lived in both of those worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to have had experience on both ends of the spectrum. I I love that, like, even in your role now, which is zoom all the time, and in your how you got into the industry, how you began 20 years ago, it was like you just have FaceTime,
It was door to
constantly.
door, right? We were ringing doorbells
Yeah.
back then, right? And
It takes
it,
a certain
yeah,
type of person. So I
yeah, and
admire that.
yeah, I think getting to know an Avon representative, in that case, a distributor, getting to know them and realizing what their lives are like, and being in their homes. And, that again was that foundation for me to now really know what to look for and how to connect with them digitally, because that's what we have to do.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and what I know across the board, whether it was door to door and face to face or digitally, we have to remove barriers for them. We have to make things more simple. We have to remove friction and remove barriers to their success.
Yeah, 100%. And that brings me to your article. You wrote an article that I found on LinkedIn called "Winning the Digital Race: How Direct Sales Can Leverage Micro Moments for Growth."
Right.
What are micro moments in this context, and what are some practical ways that direct sales companies can capitalize on them to
Yeah.
drive this growth?
Great question. Micro moments by nature are digital. And I think, just remembering that that's the context that, that I was writing about. Google kind of coined this term some years back when they wanted to figure out, why do we pick these things up? Why do we pick up a smartphone? Why do we go to it? And, the bottom line is, we all know this now, we go to it if we want to buy something, if we want to learn something, or we want to go somewhere. Those are typically the reasons we pick up our phone. And so now, as consumers, we're consuming that information, or, finding a product. We're so spontaneous. Those micro moments have to be captured, or we miss out. Because that's how
Right.
we're doing it. When was the last time, I have a question for you. When was the last
Yes.
time you picked up and went to your Amazon account and ordered something 3 minutes after you decided you needed it? Like, you just go and do it.
Yep. Because that's when I know I'm actually going to make the purchase and
Yeah.
not let it sit in my cart for
Right.
months.
Right. So we do it, we're it's instant, right? So, ooh, I need
Mhm.
this. Ooh, I need a new vitamin. I need a moisturizer, whatever it is, and we go and do it. So that's a micro moment, is that we have to be right there. They're very brief, they're intent-driven interactions. It's where we make decisions. And so you either, as a brand, gain momentum in those moments, or you lose it. And so, for us, it's important to equip, our field with the tools that they need to be able to capture those micro moments. And we kind of have an edge when it comes to micro moments, because we have a human, component as well. So
Mhm.
you can, as a distributor at a brand, you can stimulate those moments. You can create them with your customers by communicating and talking to them, and having conversations and sharing information in the right format, to get immediate action out of your potential customers or your potential teammates. So micro moments are something that we can't ignore. They're happening all around us. I think as a channel, we have to figure out, how do we get in there and make sure that our field is equipped, because there's a way to look at this from a marketing standpoint. If you were an e-commerce brand, or a retail brand, you would look at this a little bit differently. But we have to now take this concept of micro moments and figure out, how do we make sure that our distributors have the right content at the right time, in the right format, to capitalize on this. And I think we have the advantage, because we have this hybrid, of digital and human interaction. And I don't think there's any AI algorithm out there that can top that.
No, because no, absolutely. Because, AI is, if you're on getting on your phone to buy something, for example, which was one of you said, to buy something, to learn something, or to go somewhere.
Hmm.
And if you're getting on your phone to buy something and you have that micro moment, that spark, um, then you're talking about being readily accessible while that's happening,
Hmm.
versus saying, "Oh, you're interested? Okay, well, we'll get back to you with some information," or
Hmm.
but like, no, that then it's gone by that time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So, to really win this, companies, brands have to be able to meet the field there and be giving them what they need. Because when you're having that conversation, it's got to be at your fingertips, right? We
Hmm.
don't have the leisure anymore of leaving our conversation and going to another place in our phone, or on our desktop, to copy and paste something out of a PDF, or let me go look in my back office and see where that is. We don't have that leisure time. And frankly, as distributors, as humans, we don't have the attention span to do that, right? Like, if I walk away from a conversation in my phone to go do something, there's a really good chance I'm going to squirrel and end up doing something else, right?
Hmm.
So
We're
having,
just
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, just having that tool in your hand to be able to interact in those moments is really critical.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got excited while you're talking because it's like we're constantly being bombarded, it seems, with like a lot of messaging from a lot of different angles, especially digitally. And so yeah, distraction is easy as ever.
Right.
So yeah, totally. Okay, interesting, very interesting concept. Listeners, y'all should definitely read the article for a more in-depth explanation, but that was great.
Yeah.
So, as VP of BizDev at Boards, how do you see technology transforming the direct sales landscape, and what innovations are you most excited about? Now, we talked about how it's transforming a bit in that last answer, but
Mhm.
what are you most excited about?
You know what I think is phenomenal, and there's a bit of a battle sometimes around going back to the basics and,
Mm-hmm.
spending a lot of time looking in the rearview mirror, like at the good old days, and how do we get that to happen again? And I'm not too fond of that, right? I'm not too fond of that thinking. I feel like it absolutely can anchor us to something that is not relevant right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we can spend a lot of time and effort trying to recreate something. I feel like our opportunity is to not recreate something, but our opportunity is to evolve. It's to evolve with how, the world is working, how transactions are taking place, how commerce is taking place. But if you really think about it, technology is actually finally catching up with how our channel actually works. Flexible, mobile, relationship driven. We had this weird kind of zone in the middle, right? When we were trying to figure out how do we go from door to door and face to face and in-person parties and meetings to technology. I was at a very large brand when we rolled out our website, our e-commerce site for the first time, right? So we've struggled, we've stumbled a bit on how do we do this? How do we get from there, from all the in-person to here? But the reality is, we've been working flexibly. We've been on the go. We've been driving relationships and building sales through connection. And it's no different right now. It's just digital, it's not in person. And
Mm.
so I feel like technology is actually finally catching up with how we do business. And so it makes me really excited that, we have tools like boards that actually feel like just an extension of how we already work. We already
Mm.
work on the go. How many moms for years have been working at the ballpark or, connecting with people in their social groups or with their hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
in their community. And it's not really any different. So, we've spent a lot of time hesitating and not really sure how to totally lean into this. But I feel like now, we need to accept that it's really technology that caught up with us.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think that's great. Yeah, there are some strengths that the direct selling industry has that, traditional channels or more traditional advertisers are just kind of like out of breath to get to catch up with.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean that definitely applies to the digital landscape as well. It's like you said, it's just a mirror of what our life is like,
Yeah.
and it's important not to get bogged down in
Right.
that
Right. Because I
old
think
world thinking.
right. Our biggest shift was really that we're moving from very static tools, right? PDFs, graphics. It used to be paper at one point, right? So we moved from static tools to dynamic systems. We have to have
Mm,
systems that adapt in real time and that we have visibility to. That's a big challenge. Our corporate teams don't always have visibility to what happens, once they put content out, marketing content out to the field. They don't really know what's working or how to react to it. So we're shifting from those static tools to dynamic systems. And that's where, we've got still some learning to do and some adjusting to do, but I think we're starting to get it.
yeah. So is that how you say um, direct sellers could overcome some obstacles of transitioning to digital platforms and just being able to stay competitive that way?
Yeah, I think we need to take a look at, what lands, what resonates right now with our customers. And honestly, I think our fields tell us. They tell us
Sure.
what they need. And I actually just published an article today, which I know you haven't read because it was just a little while before this, but about listening, right? And that's
Mm,
the key. We have to truly listen to our distributors. We have to listen and watch what they're doing and let them lead the way. the contention comes often when you have, a brand that is trying to push in one direction, but the field is actually showing you what they need and what they want. But it is challenging sometimes to stop and listen and then react and then acknowledge, that you're listening to them and that you're actually driving the business in a way that works for them already, right? And
Mhm.
instead of that friction between the two.
Yeah, 100%. So, looking ahead, what trends do you foresee shaping the future of direct selling, and how should companies prepare to capitalize on these new developments that are happening?
Personalization is going to be a key. Allowing our representatives of our brands to customize and, communicate while they're still staying compliant. I think that's going to be really
Hmm.
key. And then under accepting, not fighting, but accepting the rise of these hybrid sellers, right? There's going to be blends of affiliate creators, direct selling, models, and it's going to demand that we're even more flexible and that we have, truly scalable systems. So lean into it, stop fighting it, stop resisting it, stop,
Yes.
let's let all of these things exist in our space and not be polarized one way or the other.
Hmm.
Um, and then I think,
Yeah.
we've got to understand that there's going to be a higher expectation for everything to be on demand. Training
Oh,
content,
yeah.
analytics, messaging, data updates. Our field needs that and our corporate teams need that. And
Hmm.
our field's going to expect it, right? They're going to get it. It's sort of that Amazon uh, impact of everything instant and everything, your needs are met. How do we show up like that for
Hmm. You got to be there. Like, so lean in, right?
yeah.
Lean in and collaborate.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. The world would be a much better place.
True. These are
Not
life
just the
lessons,
industry.
right?
Yeah, totally. Well, transferable skills, working with people.
Mhm.
Speaking of reflecting on your career, what leadership lessons have you learned while driving business development and innovation in the direct sales industry?
Um, One of my favorite things is being a team leader. And for me, growing into that, I didn't know what I wanted to do. My career and evolved. I never sat,
Hmm.
as a child and said, this is what I want to do. It truly
Yeah.
evolved step by step. And one of the things that I think is foundational for me is I lead with empathy and but I also execute with clarity. So I expect a lot of my teams, whether they're my peer teams or the teams that report to me, when we're delivering, I expect a lot, but I manage differentially each of those people what they need from me to do that, and but be very clear. We need clear direction, right? Our teams deserve to be heard, but they also need true and clear direction.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah,
and then I think the other for me is that, true innovation. I love the concept of innovation. I spent some time probably 6 or 7 years ago really digging into that and attending some global innovation conferences. And I said it I said it a minute ago, maybe a little differently, but true innovation doesn't come from reinventing everything.
hmm.
It comes from just removing the noise out of things, so that people can
Mm.
really get to what works. And that's a big opportunity for us, but that's a big lesson for me. And then, collaboration. One of the most exciting things to me is to collaborate. I feel like even our conversation is a collaboration, right?
Totally.
Collaboration beats control every day. The best ideas come
Yes.
from really opening ourselves up to each other, having some vulnerability, being allowed to disagree, facilitating these conversations, where we're truly collaborating together. We're not going to control our way to success ever.
Because no one can ever have you can't ever have full control. And so if that's what you're chasing, then
Yeah.
things are gonna fall through the cracks. Totally. Yeah. I'm totally with you. Thank you so much for coming on today. We're just about out of time, but before I sign off, do you have anything to plug? Any updates, things that the listeners should look out for?
Yeah, well, I certainly have to plug our board's partnership opportunity. I think that is one of the coolest things we have going on right now. I told you we have users. We have your field. If you're a corporate employee, your field is using boards. I promise. At this point, we're seeing about 90% of brands have users on boards already. So we have this amazing, and I'm going to say it because everybody stumbles with this and they just are like, really? Are you really? But we have a strategic partnership that we do with brands who already have an adoption of boards, and we show the brand how to use boards to really capitalize on that and to give their field the things that they want them to be sharing. And there's no cost to it. And that's where everybody says, really? But we really, truly have the strategic partnership that we offer to brands. And it's very unique. But it is a mutually beneficial agreement where my amazing team that has collectively more than 75 years of network marketing experience in corporate roles and field roles, my team is able to really support these brands and show them how to take this tool and mobilize their field, activate their field with it. So I'm plugging that, our board's partnership program. And anybody
Listeners,
can reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to share more.
that's great. Yeah, listeners, you heard her. Also check her out on LinkedIn and connect. And collaboration is the word of the day.
That's it.
So feel free to collaborate.
Beats control.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Shellie. Listeners, you've been listening to Momo Talks. Again, subscribe, follow us on social media, and we will see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Anabelle.
Thank you.
And that's all we've got for you today. Thanks for listening to Momo Talks, and don't forget to keep up to date with Momentum Factor by logging on to momofactor.com, and be on the lookout for our next Momo Talks episode wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, this is Anabelle signing off.